PodAskew Podcast is a proud member of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network.
All right, everybody on the train, all aboard. You snooze, you lose.
Buy my loot boxes.
Not you. Get off the train. Don't let him on.
Oh, okay.
All right, listen here, Greenhorn. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about how to conduct a podcast. First thing you need to know is never stay on topic, ever.
Sir?
What do you want?
People are complaining about the Venom movie still.
I don't care. Feed them Justice League or something. Get them off my back.
Copy.
Sir, it says in the book that you need to stay on topic as a podcast.
Screw the book, Greenhorn. The book was written by dinosaurs. Second thing you need to know is never report news that's not at least 2 or 3 weeks old.
Sir?
What do you want?
People are complaining about the Pokemon Go update.
I don't care. Just gag them or something. Shut them up.
On it.
Sir,
What do you want, Greenhorn?
I think the train might be going off the rails.
That's exactly how we run this show. This is the Crazy Train of Thought podcast, brought to you by the Idiot Savants. Find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
www.crazytrainofthought.com.
Welcome everybody to the PodAskew Podcast. I am CJ, and with me, as always, is my head roller, mate Rico. What's up, man?
Hooah!
I was really hoping you were going to do that.
I did it! You motherfuckers!
I wonder who we're talking about today.
We are talking about Barack Obama.
Shit. With everything going on right now today, that's not necessarily a bad choice either.
Hello, America.
That's actually not that bad, because you probably don't really have an Obama. That was still pretty good. Pretty good.
I have an Obama. I have a whole bit about like if what Obama was like when he was like 17, trying to pick up girls. Like, hello, I'd like to take you out, and we can go out for dinner, and it'd be really good. And
That's
then
actually
maybe
pretty fucking funny.
And then maybe we can talk about social interactions, and maybe I can kiss you. It'd be good for America. You got to kind of,
No, I get it. Yeah.
You got to kind of take Clinton and like drop the, oh yeah, you know, you gotta drop that. It's more. Obama sounds like he is always trying to remember the next thing to say.
Yeah, I get. Yeah,
I forgot my fucking lines.
I get where you get that from. I don't think that's the genesis behind that delay, but I get what you're saying. So
no, but he's definitely a think before he speaks kind of guy.
Oh, for sure.
Whereas, ironically enough, the guy we're going to talk about today, Pacino, is just all scream and no thoughts.
Well, that's the interesting thing, and you and I were kind of talking about this before we got started. He wasn't always that way. He's very soft spoken in the beginning. I felt like
he was higher voiced. I mean, there's different layers of Pacino because it's circa Godfather 1 and 2, like 70s Pacino. It's up here, you know. It's all Fredo. You broke my heart. You know, that was smart, huh? You know, and Attica, in this high pitched and really it's acting and whatnot, and then and his New York accent's really thick when he's younger.
Yeah,
it's really kind of interesting. And then now, like Scent of a Woman, he just sounds like fucking Foghorn Leghorn.
Well, and I really feel like that was the turning point for his performances, like, you know what I mean, like not the turning point, but the
evolution.
Well, it's a point in time. It's a reference point where you can see a difference in the Pacino. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, even like when he was doing shit and I think Scarface is border.
That's fair. Let's back up a second, because I'm sure people are smart enough to figure out, but what we're doing today is we're actually doing a deep dive into Al Pacino's career. So very similar to what we did with Tom Hanks several episodes back. We're going to be going over the life and times thereof of one Al Pacino. Now,
Alfredo J. Pacino.
Now, what we are going to do, and we do need to stress this, Rico and I both decided that while the obvious one to talk about is The Godfather, we are probably going to be doing a deep dive into The Godfather in the future of the show, and would rather not get into The Godfather too deeply today. So, believe us when we say we recognize not only the importance, but the how well he performs in those movies, or at least well, actually, he's not the problem in the third one either, but that's another discussion. So,
the third one, just to get this joke out of the way, the third one is still a member of the family, but it's definitely the Fredo of the family.
For sure. So anyway, but that's what we're doing today. We're going to be going over a lot of Pacino's work and that kind of stuff, and a bit of his life too. I'd like to start with his life, as we tend to do when we do these things. Like start with the person before we get into the filmography. So as you've mentioned, he was born in New York, in Harlem, actually.
I thought he was born in the Bronx.
According to this, he's born in East Harlem.
Mm.
Now, you got to remember, though, in 1940, East Harlem was very different than what Harlem looks like today, or even in the 60s, for that matter.
Sure.
So,
it was, basically all of New York was just mostly Little Italy.
Yeah, with one section for the Irish, I think,
Irish, Jews, and, some sect for, the Germans. It was it was the four corners.
Right. Well, let's be real. The five corners, the
5 points, yeah.
Yeah. Couple of things I'm seeing here. There's not a whole lot that stands out to me, but if you know some things you want to step into, please. But one of the things that I'm finding really interesting that jumps right out at me is that in his teenage years, he was actually known as Sonny. His friends called him Sonny.
Yeah.
Which, considering the movie we're not discussing, is a little ironic.
Well, Sonny was kind of that nickname, especially for Italian Americans. They would, it was like Sonny Boy, Sonny, but it is kind of weird how his nickname was Sonny. And that everyone, for The Godfather auditioned for all the roles. Sonny was the flamboyant character. So, again, we're not going to really talk about Godfather today, but we'll try to bring this subject up when we do it at some point.
Yeah, we're not going to ignore it completely, but it's certainly not going to get the deep dive that it deserves today.
Well, to the flip side, De Niro had a really interesting nickname when he was a kid. Do you know what his was?
No.
Bobby Milk.
I think you've told me that before, now that you say it, but I didn't retain that information.
He was just a super pale fucking, quarter guinea, because he's only a quarter Italian, which is pretty funny.
Right.
But speaking of which, I almost called him Sonny. Pacino, one of my favorite little bits of trivia about him is that his grandparents on his father's side, I believe, came from Corleone, Sicily. So you want to talk about being really connected to the fucking role. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, he was known as Sonny, but really, he was fucking born to play Michael Corleone.
Yeah, I don't have any information here confirming or denying that on what I'm looking at. Oh wait, here we go. Yeah. He moved to the Bronx. So after he was born in Harlem, his parents divorced when he was 2.
Yeah.
So he's like you.
3. I think it was 3 or 4.
3. Okay, just based on
Close.
The timeline you gave us during the Mother's Day episode, it sounded like 2.
The difference is, I think his dad actually just fucked off. I think his dad's name was Salvatore, so it was Sal Pacino. But I think he was raised prominently by his mother and his grandmother.
Grandparents, it seems like, yeah.
Yeah, but his mother's parents.
On his mom's side, and those were the ones from Corleone, not his father's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then his father was from San Fratello, Sicily, according to this.
So he was Sicilian American. He wasn't Italian American, which is
there's a difference. Yes, And then, according to this, when his father fucked off, to put it in your terms, he went to Covina, California.
I don't know where Covina is.
Let's
Steph,
see.
have you ever heard of Covina, California? No.
It's in L.A. County, so it's must down by...
L.A. County, okay.
It's in the San...
So he really fucking fucked off.
Yeah, no, he fucked off.
Dude, like, how... That is a clear indication that he did not want to be a father.
Yeah, it sounds that way.
The other fucking side of the goddamn country.
Yeah. It seems to not...
I'm surprised he didn't immigrate back to fucking Sicily. He's like, fuck that. Fuck that.
Yeah, right. Did you just throw Dino?
Yeah, I did. Dino was like fucking with my knee and scratching it. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, that's, but yeah, so that's that. And then, like you said, raised by his grandparents and his mom.
One of my favorite bits of trivia is that when he was a kid, he worked at a movie theater and he got fired because he was admiring himself in the mirror. Like he had a movie theater kind of outfit, and he was walking down a staircase and there was a whole thing of mirrors and he was standing and kind of admiring himself, and he got fired for that.
Interesting. It's not saying here, so I can't say, but
I remember reading in the trivia of Pacino's IMDb.
No, I'm not saying
whether
you're wrong,
that's true or not. It's still a pretty good.
It's
like,
a
urban
cool
legend.
story. Yeah. And then the thing that I find real interesting, the thing that intrigues me, at least besides his filmography, which obviously we're going to get into, is that he was very much involved in the actor studio, which is we talked about pretty in-depthly when James Lipton passed.
To the point where his mentor, one of his mentors, was like he brought into Godfather 2.
Yeah, well, and it's a pretty famous name. I just had it here. Give me a second, but it's a pretty famous name from the actor studio, actually. Lee
Strasberg.
Yeah, that's it. Lee Strasberg. Here it is. And you've heard James Lipton in many episodes reference that name, so that's it's a pretty well.
And to be fair, not to deep dive Godfather too much, it's impossible to not reference Godfather when we're talking about
right.
Pacino.
We're just not going to, if we don't hit on major points, that's why we mentioned that we're not really deep diving it tonight, because we'll be getting into a lot more of it later. But yeah.
Right. But that Strasberg's performance in Godfather 2 is very good, because it's Hyman Roth, and he's the Meyer Lansky Jewish mobster of the Corleone Godfather world, and he's just laid back. He's not yelling. He's just all reserved, and you see everyone else is flashy in the Godfather movies, just kind of be intimidated into, I'm just this old Jew, and I'm here to tell you what's going on. And you're just like, oh yeah, we're listening, motherfucker.
Now, here's an interesting thing about the actor studio, though, for him. So he was already acting as of age 13, not like professionally, but like doing underground stuff and plays and whatnot. And was actually rejected by the actor studio the first time he applied.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then he did get in, obviously.
Eventually.
And the interesting thing to me at the end of this is that by 2010, along with Ellen Burstyn and Harvey Keitel, he's the co-president of the organization.
Yeah, I did actually remember reading that. I mean, I think Ellen Burstyn was one of the earliest guests of Inside.
Could be. Yeah.
So, I didn't really know too much of Ellen Burstyn, but I know she was
it's just another name. Yeah, I don't know a lot about her, but I know she's a major contributor to the actor studio, because again, it's a name I've heard James Lipton mention multiple times during the show.
Harvey Keitel too.
Of course, yeah, but the difference, with all respect to Ellen Burstyn, is a lot of people know who Harvey Keitel is.
Most people know Harvey Keitel based on Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs, if I'm really being honest.
I would say
I'm
Taxi
not saying
Driver.
He doesn't have an extensive career, but I'm saying that's usually his go-to.
I would say Taxi Driver too, though, because he's in Taxi Driver.
He is, but he's almost unrecognizable.
Yeah, but that happens a lot with Keitel. Like, he's almost unrecognizable in Once Upon a Time as well. Or no, not Once Upon a Time, but The Irishman.
Well, he's also very brief in The Irishman.
But still, yeah.
Yeah. But we will eventually get to The Irishman, and I'm pretty sure we both have
did talk
The
about
Irishman.
it. I watched. Yeah, we did it for. Was it Paddy's Day this year? I think we did for Paddy's Day episode.
I actually don't remember. So looking at his filmography, early.
Well, his first movie is Me, Natalie.
Never saw it. Never even heard of it.
No, neither have I. The first one he's in that I've heard of, which is only his third fucking film, is The Godfather, is Michael Corleone.
You never heard of The Panic at Needle Park?
No.
It's him playing a junkie. It's really good.
Okay.
But especially considering the fact that apart from a movie we've never fucking heard and a fucking one episode of NYPD where he's known as John James. Yeah, okay. His character is, you see the early hits of Pacino. I'm saying way back in one of his first movies, he had it. He had the talent. He had the fucking Pacino depth and charisma and raw fucking rage. It's a pretty intense performance.
You know what's really interesting about it? I don't mean to interrupt you, buddy, but you know what's really interesting about his filmography to me? That, and this happens a lot. This is not just a Pacino kind of thing, but Pacino, for sure, he's only been in 61 films. Now, that's a lot of movies, don't get me wrong. No, but you see other guys like I guarantee you, if I pulled up James Cromwell, he's probably in triple digits. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, these heavy hitters like a Tom Hanks, like we did before, and Pacino tonight. You know, they're only in. You know, I mean, not that 61's a small number, but do you get what I'm saying here?
You expect it to be more. I get what you're saying.
Because as much as you know Pacino, you expect it to be twice that many. You know?
I mean, I won't say Pacino's not picky because he did do Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
But let me put it this way. I think, Robin Williams actually did a whole bit about Pacino where he talks about how they wanted to give him the Gene Hirschfeld Award or something way back in the... What?
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I think he actually has it, though.
Yeah, because that was when Robin Williams was giving his speech. He said, we wanted to give you this award because you made these 5 movies in the series of 5 years.
Right.
Godfather, Serpico, Godfather Part 2, Dog Day Afternoon, and I think that was basically, and Justice for All. He said, we wanted to give you the award, but that would have been giving Macaulay Culkin an Oscar, early in his career. It's just, but if you look at his early career, Pacino's got a great career stemming fucking
all the way
decades.
through. Yeah.
But some of his best shit is his earliest shit.
Yeah, but he's got some really good latter ones too. I'm looking through here. I can name. I mean, and you and I may, not agree on some of these, know, but. I mean, obviously, of his, and we already referenced this, but the turning point, from old Pacino to new Pacino, if you will, has got to be Son of a Woman.
Yeah.
He's
not even old Pacino with that, but because there's now old Pacino.
Well, yes, but I mean old as in your Michael Corleone soft-spoken Pacino, because Son of a Woman, and yes, Scarface too, but it's definitely Son of a Woman. That speech at the end of Son of a Woman when he's up on trial with Charlie.
I'm just getting warmed up.
Right. And I take a flamethrower to this place. There's not a time that if I can catch that speech, I'll watch it.
I did that speech for a high school play.
Did you get in trouble?
No, fuck no. I did it. But I had, because they were we need a good, it was part of an acting exercise. We need a monologue. And I couldn't find just a good monologue because everybody else was doing Jack Nicholson's, you can't handle the truth. And I was I don't want to be another that.
Right.
So I had to kind of find the script for, the Scent of a Woman speech and tweak it to make it, because it's a back and forth between him and the dean
and Trask, yeah,
and Trask, and I had to. Good memory, damn.
Oh, dude, I fucking love that scene. Let me tell you. Plus,
the whole movie is great.
No, it is. Plus, the guy who plays Trask is just a douchebag almost every time I've seen. I've never seen him where he's not playing some kind of a douchebag.
He's less of a douchebag in My Cousin Vinny, but he's still a douchebag.
Well, okay, yeah, but he's not. Right, I'll give you that. You're right, but at the same time, like, he's not a major player in My Cousin Vinny. Like, every time I've seen him as a major player, let me put it that way, because he's a major player in Son of a Woman. He's a major player in the first Independence Day, and he's a douchebag in that.
Yeah. I mean, let's pay some respect. He did pass away, but like he was great.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I think James Reborn, I think his name is.
Oh, I remember seeing that. Now that you mention his name, yeah. Look, no. When I say he plays a douchebag, it doesn't mean I think he, the person, is a douchebag. I just think that he's really good at playing those characters.
I know, but let's not just typecast him as a douchebag.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Oh, you know that actor, great douchebag actor.
No,
did
but
you ever see Serpico?
I have not. No, and I know. Look, there are two movies in his, meaning Pacino's, right? Yes, thank you. That I have not seen that people destroy me for having never seen. Serpico's one of them.
What's the other one?
Well, no, it sounds like you have a guess. Go ahead.
Dog Day Afternoon?
No. So I guess 3 if you're gonna.
Scarface?
Yeah.
Scarface you can get a pass on. Because Scarface...
Not from a lot of people.
Yeah, but those are just... If I can generalize, I'm assuming the people that are yelling at you for not seeing Scarface are like... They look at that movie in the wrong kind of fucking way.
I don't know what way they look. I know what you're implying, and I can't say. But what I can say is that they think it... Scarface out here, and I'm not saying it's not the same out there, but out here has a fucking cult following. Like,
oh, it definitely does here.
Okay. And but I mean, like, you just go everywhere and there's Scarface stuff.
I would,
you know what I mean?
I would imagine Carlito's Way having more of a cult following in your neck of the woods than Scarface.
I'll bet you if I went an hour and a half up the turnpike, probably, but not here.
Well, you've seen Carlito's Way?
No.
Okay. So there's a lot of Pacino you haven't really seen.
No, there is, but it's all early. You get into his latter stuff again, and I've seen a bunch of it. You know,
Carlito's Way is 93. It's later than Scarface. Scarface is 80. Carlito's is 93.
Right. No.
So
yeah, because another
Carlito's Way is like if Scarface was Puerto Rican and living in the Bronx.
Well, see, and that's one of the things I've heard say stuff about Scarface is that they're not necessarily knocking Pacino, but they should have cast a more ethically accurate actor to play the role, because Pacino's this Italian guy from New York, and
I will say, from what I've read, I mean, look, I'm not Cuban, I'm not like even from Florida, so I'm not an expert by any stretch of the means. But I did read that because Pacino cares about his craft, especially circa 1974 all the way to 94. We'll call it that. Because then he started slipping a little bit. I
could argue that, but all right, fair enough.
He wanted to be as authentic, so he hired like a Cuban guy to be his vocal coach. So
no, I'm sure he took it seriously and handled it well. What happens now, living in 2019, 2020, and I use both years because it's kind of taken that transition, but is, people, and we talked about this with that Christmas song with Baby It's Cold Outside, like, people are looking at it in, now eyes.
2020 goggles, yeah.
Right, or in the 2019 goggles, and saying, it wasn't ethically cast correctly, whereas, in 1973, or, 70, 70...
80.
80?
For Scarface? Yeah, 1980.
83. And so for, in 1983, it was perfectly okay to cast a Italian from the Bronx,
To be fair, there's a lot of Italians in that fucking movie.
I'm sure there are.
You got Robert Loggia.
Okay. Yep.
You got Mary Elizabeth. I think it's Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio.
I always get it wrong, but probably. I'm pulling up the cast for you right now.
You get F. Murray Abraham, the guy who played Salieri in Amadeus.
Yeah, F. Mary Abraham.
That guy's half Italian.
Yep. No, I'm looking. Michelle
and they're
Pfeiffer's
all playing
in that
fucking
film.
Cubans.
Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer's in that film.
She's not Italian.
No,
She's too tall.
She's too tall.
Yeah.
But yes.
The only authentic Cuban American in that movie is the guy who plays Manny. If you've got the cast in front of you, it's...
I do. I'm trying to... Manny is Stephen Bauer.
Yeah. So, he's the only one of Cuban descent of the principal cast.
Fair enough.
Even the movie was directed by Brian fucking De Palma. You want to talk about Italians,
Yeah. And written by Oliver Stone, so...
Not Italian. French.
Well,
French and
right,
Irish.
But not Cuban or Hispanic.
Not Cuban,
which is kind of the point I was getting at.
But if you're even going to the root source, Scarface was based on Al Capone, and the original film of Scarface, because Scarface is a remake,
right?
Which
a lot of people
about
don't realize.
Italian American.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that that's a remake, honestly. But
that's one of the few where I'm like, the remake is better. The original is great for a cinephile type of film class kind of look. It's a great film,
sure,
but Scarface, the remake, is infinitely more entertaining. And a lot of it is not just on Pacino. It's, Oliver Stone wrote that while going through a cocaine addiction.
Sounds right.
He was trying to give up the shit and he was writing about it.
About a pyramid of cocaine on a table. Because I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, because Robin Williams has got some of the best material of Al Pacino. He's just anybody who has seen that movie and has fought through Peruvian devil's dandruff knows that is a fucking documentary.
Yeah, I could see Robin saying that.
Yeah.
Well, when we get to it, you were talking about Robin having all these bits about, just in general, but Pacino for sure.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx has quite a few things to say about him too.
You're talking about the juice?
Yeah.
Juice?
Yeah. But I'm looking at the description here for Dog Day Afternoon, another one I haven't seen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the movie I'm going to reference would be a variation on this, not the other way around, because it came out long after Dog Day. Mm-hmm. But John Q with Denzel.
I know of it, but I've never seen John Q.
Well, the premise behind John Q is that he takes a hospital hostage to get his son the care that he needs because he's dying. According to this, no, hear me out. According to this, the Dog Day Afternoon, a man robs a bank to pay for his lover's operation, which turns into a hostage situation. Same kind of idea. John Q wasn't trying to have hostages per se. He was just trying to get attention, and end up having hostages. So,
can you tell me because I do want to see John Q. Can you tell me if John Q becomes a comedy at any point, him interacting with the hostages?
He definitely interacts with them. I don't remember really ever becoming funny though. Yeah.
Or do they become friendly with each other?
Yeah, to a degree, sure. But that happens a lot. That's a trope in hostage movies in general.
But I would argue that Dog Day started it. And the crazy thing is, I don't know if John Q is based on actual events, but Dog Day is.
I think it is, actually. I'll check, but I could be wrong.
I'll give you another little interesting thing. Pacino's character's name is Sonny.
In Dog Day? Oh, there you go.
And the crazy thing is that the real Sonny, because the whole, what happens in the movie. And honestly, CJ, you really need to see it because it's not it's going to be this really fucking long, it's not Rico wants me to watch this. You will fucking thoroughly enjoy it because it's wacky because it is what that description is. but then it becomes something so much crazier where you just are watching Pacino and John Cazale, who plays Fredo in the Godfather movies. He plays his partner, and they are struggling and fucking up immediately. And they had this whole thing planned. It just falls to shit immediately. And then they're stuck. They're stuck in this bank with all these hostages, and they become friendly. Like at one point, Pacino is teaching one of the clerks, and it's the majority of the hostages are women.
Okay.
And he's showing one of them how to do like the rifle kick and spin baton thing that like in the army teaches you. Meaning he's letting her hold to the rifle. That's my point, is that there's now this whole, it's like weird Stockholm syndrome on a very early basis. It's not like it's been going on for days. It's just like 3 hours later, they're just like, hey, can we get some pizza in here? We got some people that want some pizza. He's like interacting with like the FBI agents outside. It's really funny.
It sounds like a more serious version of, again, this movie is long after Dog Day, so please, I get that for those listening, but like Airheads. Could Airheads start, you know what I mean? Could that start pretty serious and gets pretty funny pretty quick? You know what I mean?
It has levels. It's an emotional fucking ride because it is like an underrated comedy, but it's also a serious drama because there's a whole part where he's aware that he could be gunned down with, if he gets near a window. So at one point he has someone dictate his last will and testament, and it's really emotional. And if I remember reading correctly, it was done in one fucking take. And
he's that good. I mean,
he's that good. And there's a lot of improvisation, dude. I have to spoil one fucking part of Dog Day.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that's fine.
Because John Cazale's, and you want to talk about an underrated talent and a really lost talent, is the guy who played Fredo. In the Godfather
yeah,
movies.
he was only in what, like 5 movies before he died, like that.
5 movies, and he died of like bone cancer. But he is terrific as he plays Sal in Dog Day. He plays and he's got like long, like really like almost like dental, like candy floss hair. Like it's really part in the middle, and it looks super soft. And Al asks him, he's like, so where do you want to go? I'm going to have them bring a helicopter and we can get out of here, go anywhere in the country. Where do you want to go? And this whole thing was improvised. And John Cazale says, Wyoming. He's like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, you want to you can go anywhere. You can go to Italy. You can go to, Denmark. Where do you want to go? He's like, Wyoming. It's like, no, I mean, what country do you want to go to? He's like, Wyoming.
It's so funny. It's kind of like, it goes back to a movie I've mentioned multiple times on the show, but Hunt for Red October. Mm-hmm. You've seen it, right? I forget.
Yeah, I've seen it, but it's been a fucking minute. It's been like 10 minutes.
This part you might remember. There's a sequence between Sean Connery and his first mate, who is the guy from Jurassic Park, and his name escapes me right now.
Sam Neill.
Thank you. They're sitting, just the two of them in Connery's cabin, talking about what it'll be like when they get to the new world. And Sam Neill's describing with what he wants to do, like where he wants to live. And he's like, I think I would live in Montana. And he's like, Montana? Really? Of all the places in America, you're going to go to Montana? I mean, to be fair, it's probably the closest thing to Russia that we have, short of Alaska. But
it wouldn't surprise me if that in itself was a reference to Dog Day.
It could be. Oh, it absolutely could be, which is one of the reasons why I brought it up, because it could have been, so.
Also, you got a very young Lance Henriksen in Dog Day.
Okay.
You would recognize Lance. He's a very sharp-featured character actor, usually playing despicable fucking guys. He was Alien. He was an alien. Well, you never saw fucking Alien. The Quick and the Dead.
I'm looking at his IMDb, and he's in a bunch of movies I should have seen, like Terminator and Aliens.
Terminator, Dead Man.
Nope.
Oh, Dead Man's great. So back to
he was a voice in a game I played, for what that's worth.
He's got a very distinct, like, gravelly voice. So There is some late 70s, 80s Pacino that I actually have yet to see. Like,
How dare you?
I know. I haven't seen the infamous Cruising. Do you know about the movie Cruising?
Mm-mm.
If I remember correctly, he plays a detective, and all right, let me just read the description. A police detective goes undercover in the underground S&M gay subculture of New York City to catch a serial killer who's preying on gay men.
As you do, you know.
As you do. But, I mean, that's a really interesting thing, because that's not a movie that would, like, you would think Pacino would do. In theory.
No, right.
And to be fair, that's not a movie that most you would think you could see that being made now.
Sure.
But, like,
sure.
You know, in the 80s, during the AIDS crisis, I guess that they were like, it's just weird. Like, I didn't know Pacino was like that was probably his most experimental film that he had done.
So, just getting back to that character actor you mentioned a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
I want to just give you a nice laugh, because I feel like I like to try to crack you up at least once per episode, and this one's probably going to do it. I'm looking at this guy's IMDb, and yes, he's been on the X-Files like as a character once, so I probably saw that. But in terms of movies, there's 2 movies that I've seen and he's been in.
You're talking about Hendrickson, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the less ridiculous first, even though it's out of order, and that's Powder.
The fuck is Powder?
Powder's a movie about a kid who's born during an electrical storm, and then it basically is albino. He's got he's got alopecia, so he's got no hair, and he's all white. And his family
sounds like Casper, to be honest.
Well, no, but his family basically they didn't lock him in a basement, but they kept him hidden from the town and the kids, because it's like a Edward Scissorhands in that regard. You know, like he would get
it's a tragic story.
Right, and he plays the sheriff who finds him. The character actor you told me. He also plays a character in the Super Mario Brothers movie with Bob Hoskins.
That's right. I forgot about that.
So,
because Dennis Hopper completely steals the fucking movie.
Well, I don't know about that, but
as Koopa? Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I don't know about steals the movie. He's definitely a big part of it. But yeah, I mean, looking at this guy's character, though, or his
filmography,
it's the only thing he's been in movie-wise that I've seen.
You got to see some Lance Henriksen. You also got to see some fucking Pacino, buddy. You got to see Dog Day Afternoon. Like, that's a movie that I would fucking like. If it's on like Amazon Prime or some shit, and you have to pay $5. You should do it.
I was just looking. I couldn't find a free copy, but I'll have to do some more digging.
I would even be willing to fucking buy you a copy on like Blu-ray or some shit and have it mailed to you.
Well, that's up to you.
That's how much I give a fuck.
I see that you give a fuck.
I give a fuck.
But back to Al Pacino, since that's the guy we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah.
Wait, real quick, jumping way ahead, didn't you tell me wasn't there some curse on the Shakespeare movie that they keep trying to make it and people like keep dying every time they try to make it?
I was telling you about Fatty Arbuckle.
Okay.
Fatty Arbuckle was that fat, silent comedian, and they kept trying to make a movie about his life. And John Candy, John Belushi, right. Chris Farley all tried.
There is some kind of curse centered around a Shakespearean.
You're thinking of Macbeth. And Macbeth
that's it, yeah.
is considered, it's not a curse, it's just considered bad luck to say the name Macbeth, even if you're in Macbeth. And they refer to it as the Scottish play.
Okay. The reason I was asking is because he's in announced.
Merchant of Venice.
Well, no, but announced he's in King Lear as King Lear.
You know, I know he was in Merchant of Venice, and he plays Shylock, and I'm not even really a big Shakespeare fan.
Neither am I.
I kind of have purposely avoided wanting to see Pacino do fucking Shakespeare. Because I'm sure he's brilliant, but I can't look at it and be like, that's fucking, like, that's hoo-ha. Like, what the fuck? That's hoo-ha.
You know, but getting back to where we were in his timeline, like a movie that I take a lot of crap for not having seen in the circles that I hang out in, especially for work, is Glengarry Glen Ross.
Glengarry Glen Ross, one, has a fucking hard name to say. Like, hey, have you seen that movie Glengarry Glen Ross? It's really, you always like kind of muffle it. Even for me, I'm like Glengarry Glen Ross. It's one of those ones you have to think about each fucking word as you're saying it. Glengarry Glen Ross is a great film. Pacino is good in it. Jack Lemmon is great in it. Kevin Spacey is great in it. But none of them compare to how fucking badass Alec Baldwin is in that movie.
Right.
The movie's fine. It's a great theater piece on film. It's a great dialogue, story, actor's piece. But it's a drama for the sake of being dramatic. Like, you really don't give a shit about what these actors are going through that much. I think everybody should see it once and then have their own take on it. For me, it was a little boring. It was a little slow, but like once it goes, it's really interesting. But at no point it's definitely one of the most low-key Pacino films ever. He is not raging Pacino. He is low-key. Let me tell you about that.
Well, and you know, we talked about Scent of a Woman being the turning point for that, but I would actually argue there's one that maybe right before that was that could be too, and when he plays Big Boy Caprice and Dick Tracy.
Oh, absolutely. That's definitely the hammy Pacino.
Yeah.
The whole movie is a weird acid trip for me.
I fucking like that movie. I'm not telling you it's great, but it's one I really enjoy, you know?
I'm not saying I hate it. I'm just saying it's weird. It's like a Tim Burton movie.
It's way fucking weird. Yeah.
It's even weirder because Warren Beatty not only stars in it, but he directed it.
Yeah. And then you got Madonna. It looks like a weird, you know.
It looks like a Tim Burton movie that he didn't do.
You know what it really looks like? Yeah, you're right about that. But you know what else it looks like is an early version of Sin City, like a flip version of Sin City, because it's very extreme. Do you know what I mean?
A very colorful Sin City.
Right, exactly. But like that, but extreme, like as extreme as Sin City is with the black and white, it's oppositely as extreme with the color.
It's jarring because, especially like Dick Tracy's yellow fucking outfit.
Right. Well, all the gangsters, they each have like a color, if you remember. Right. Yeah. So.
But I mean, it's jarring to see like a yellow trench coat and like not see Curious George running fucking next to him.
But what's really interesting about that for me in terms of Pacino is you watch that and you don't see Pacino. Like you do, but you don't. You know what I mean?
You hear Pacino, but you don't see Pacino.
Right. But as someone who saw this not long after it came out in 1990, so I would have been like somewhere around 12 or 13 probably when I saw it.
Mm.
I don't know who the fuck Pacino is at that age. I mean, it's just not. I was never the movie guy you were in that regard. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
so like Pacino, like actors and who they were didn't like. You know,
you were like, oh, that's the guy from the Scarface cover that I saw at the video store.
I probably didn't even know that, honestly. But
okay,
like I wouldn't have recognized him at all. But even going back now and watching it, he doesn't look like Pacino the way you know Pacino.
Well, it's all exaggerated and everything.
For
but
sure.
Like,
yeah.
If I remember correctly, because he was offered Goodfellas. Like, Scorsese and De Niro wanted to work with him way back. I think they wanted him to be the Paul Sorvino role.
Okay. I've only seen Goodfellas once, so I really don't remember the casting that well. So
and I think Pacino wanted to do it, and he regrets turning it down, and that's why he did The Irishman as sort of an apology to Scorsese. But he, at the same time, he was doing Dick Tracy.
Okay.
And so they're both playing. I mean, it's a mobster. I don't know, dude. Dick Tracy's a weird, because I think I'm onto something. It's a Tim Burton movie that he didn't do, because even fucking Danny Elfman did the score.
Which, by the way, did you see about our friends over at Lulu Multiprops?
Yes. I'm really trying hard not to ask for special favors.
Well, that's probably a good idea. But,
yeah. I didn't know my erection could get that big.
Well, first they nail Keaton, and then they get Danny Elfman. Like, But,
Dude, it's just not even fair.
well, it happens. According to this, like you said, it was directed by Warren Beatty, written by Chester Gold.
I don't know who the fuck Chester Gold is.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him either.
I don't know why, but you just remind me of a random bit of trivia about Tim Curry. I don't know why.
Sure.
You know how like Tim Curry's got a big ass smile on his
Yeah,
face?
oh, yeah.
Do you know what part of England he's from?
No.
Cheshire.
That makes sense. Sure.
Right? That dude is a fucking Cheshire cat. Well, I mean, unfortunately, the stroke kind of sort of stopped that.
Okay, so Chester Gold is actually the creator of Dick Tracy.
So he wrote a screenplay based on
No, he died 5 years before the movie was made. My guess is they gave him a writing credit since he created all the characters and the basic concept for the strip. And
that makes sense.
And then they, adapted from that. So
Characters created by Siegel and Schuster and Bob Finger and Bill Finger and Bob Kane. Damn it, I always do that.
I know.
Bob Finger.
It's all right.
Fuck, I always do that.
You do, but it's all right. No, but they went a step further and looks like they actually gave him like a writing credit, but it looks like Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr. are the guys who wrote the actual story for the movie.
Well, maybe it was going into development for that long. It's possible that it was taking over 5 years to fucking do.
It is possible, sure. But he died in 85, so just.
Do you remember Dustin Hoffman in Dick Tracy?
No, but it's been so long since I've seen that movie.
He plays the gangster Mumbles, I think.
Is he playing? Oh, that feels kind of accurate, though. I can't lie.
I mean, Dustin Hoffman is not known for enunciating very well.
Well, that's my point. Yeah.
Here's my best Dustin Hoffman. Mr. Robinson, are you heard?
Ironically, it's not far off from your Harrison Ford.
No, Harrison Ford sounds more hungover.
Yeah, and you talked about how here's something interesting though for you, because you said that Pacino was supposed to play the Paul Sorvino role in Goodfellas. Did I hear you say that right?
I couldn't tell if it was Paul Sorvino or if he was offered the De Niro role.
Because Paul Sorvino actually is in Dick Tracy.
Well, Paul Sorvino had. Well, then it might be possible that Pacino was offered the De Niro role in Goodfellas, because Paul Sorvino didn't, he's in Goodfellas pretty prominently, but not a lot. He's just hey, we need you for this one scene. And both movies were probably filmed in fucking New York. So he's just driving for 10 minutes and he's on set,
Jesus
Looked at his back.
Holy shit, I didn't realize how many heavy hitters were in fucking Dick Tracy. I'm looking at this.
Even oh my god, Henry Silva. I'm pretty sure Henry Silva is in it.
He's in it. James Caan's in it.
James Caan's in it?
Yeah. He's
what?
Spaldoni.
Spaldoni.
Dick Van Dyke is in this. Catherine O'Hara is in this. Kathy Bates is in this. There's some heavy fucking hitters in this goddamn movie. Lou Horn. I know
a very young William Forsythe, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Charles Durning. He's in Dog Day.
Yep. He's great.
Mandy Patinkin.
Mandy fucking Patinkin. Charles Fleischer. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Roger fucking Rabbit.
Yeah.
Paul Sorvino. Robert Costanzo.
John Machida.
Dustin Hoffman and Kathy Bates.
There's just a lot of heavy hitters in this fucking movie. Jesus Christ.
Cole Meany. Yeah. He's good. Yeah. Catherine O'Hara? Holy shit.
I said that.
I know. I'm just seeing it a second. I just don't believe this. This is a movie that exists.
This is a movie that exists and should have done way better than I think it did.
I think it actually won an Oscar, if I'm being...
Did it really?
Yeah, I think it won an Oscar.
It might be for makeup or set design or something like that.
I want to say, I think Warren Beatty was nominated for an Oscar.
I'm trying to find now, but anyway. Yeah, we're not talking Dick Tracy today, but I couldn't help but look at this and be like, holy shit.
We got to go back to Scent of a Woman, because it is the only movie where Pacino won an Oscar.
It's the only one.
Only one. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
He really, in all honesty, he should have at least won for Godfather 2. He should have won for Dog Day Afternoon. Serpico, I mean, like Robin Williams says, like, you couldn't have given these motherfucker Oscars this early in his career. It wouldn't have been fair.
Right.
But goddamn, dude, like, even he earned an Oscar in Donnie Brasco, which you saw recently.
No, I didn't.
I thought you said you saw Donnie Brasco recently.
Mm-mm.
No, you didn't.
I've never seen that movie.
Someone told me. Well, I saw Donnie. Oh, someone else told me they saw Donnie Brasco. Oh, that's my fault. You've never seen Donnie Brasco? Shit, dude. You gotta see Donnie Brasco. No. In all seriousness, I know I'm gonna sound like a real dick here, but it is. Even though it's from 1997. Shut the fuck up, CJ. I knew you were. I saw you like about to say some shit. It is probably one of his last great performances. Like nothing against. Yeah. Donnie Brasco is clearly like what if Pacino was in Goodfellas. Like it's a mob movie, and it's a true story. And Johnny Depp plays a FBI agent who infiltrates the mafia to the point where he almost gets made. And in the mafia world, when you get vouched by a mobster,
yeah, you told me this part before. I remember this.
So Pacino plays the voucher. He plays Lefty Ruggiero.
Gotcha.
And so it's this weird mentor mentee type of relationship. And I found out mentee is a fucking word, so don't correct me.
No, it is.
Yeah. But he is terrific in it. It is truly a fucking incredible performance.
Can we back up to Dick Tracy for just a second and just to tie that off?
Sure.
No, because you mentioned awards, so I looked it up and I wanted to get you the awards. That's all.
Okay.
Beatty was not nominated for anything, just as a heads up. At least not according to this. And I'm only talking the Academy Awards. I'm not talking any of the BAFTAs or any of that stuff.
Sure.
So, Richard Silbert and Rick Simpson won for Best Art Direction.
Okay.
And John Caglione and Doug Drexler won for Best Makeup.
So you were right. It was pretty much what you kind of predicted.
And Steven Sondheim won for Best Original Song.
Steve Sondheim?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know he had anything
Madonna
to do with that.
sang the song, but I guess he wrote it.
Stephen Sondheim is a Broadway
I know he
musical.
is. Yeah,
right, okay.
I'm familiar with him. Now, here's the thing that you would find right now. Well, I'll jump to that in a minute. But now, Pacino was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Did not get it, but he was nominated.
That's what it was.
Costume design and cinematography were also nominated for. And yeah, that's it for the Academy Awards. Now, here's it real quick, just to finish, and then I'm done. But you'll find this really interesting. Tied with Black Panther as the only comic book movie nominated with 3 Oscar wins, actually. That's
nuts. And really kind of fucking sad, to be honest.
Well, a little sad, yes, but also really kind of interesting that it took till Black Panther to get another comic book movie to get 3 wins, I mean.
I mean, it is kind of surprising that, like, The Dark Knight.
The only thing that was up for, I believe, was obvious.
Best sporting, yeah.
And I think it might have gotten makeup. I think it was the only nominations that movie got that year.
Which is, I mean, look, we're fucking biased, but like, I don't remember what came out in 2008 to compare to The Dark Knight, but or most comic book movies like that come out around that time.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought I would share that with you because I thought you'd be curious to hear,
So, did you know that Scent of a Woman is also a remake?
No, I did not actually.
It is a remake of an Italian film called, it's called Scent of a Woman, but like it's Profumo di Donna. So, Perfume of a Woman, but Scent of a Woman, essentially.
Right.
It's weird. I've seen it, and in the most basic form, it is a remake. Because it is about a blind rapscallion of a dude who loves women and is charming in his own way. But it's just a more European version. Like, there's a part where he kind of, like the old Italian blind dude, sort of finagles, like he's like, I need to take a leak, and he kind of finagles a woman to like hold his dick so he could like piss in the toilet so she could aim for him.
Interesting.
Not really.
No,
it's not as interesting as just like, I want you to hold my dick.
Well, yeah, true.
Thankfully, I mean, I would have loved to have seen Pacino pull that off.
But I loved the chemistry between him and Chris O'Donnell in that movie as well. I thought
Underrated Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
There's a lot of good underrated, like you got a very young Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yep. Yeah, but he's not in it as much, obviously. You know what I mean?
I rewatched it fairly like within the past year. He's
Oh, I
in it
probably
more
have to.
than we think he is.
Well, in the very beginning and then at the end, but there's that whole middle sequence in New York where he doesn't really appear.
But we hear his voice a lot.
Once.
I think we heard it twice.
Might be right.
I'm saying he's layered. And they're always
Sure.
talking about his character.
Sure.
You know, all the heavy weight on Charlie's shoulders and shit. You know, so they refer to he's another important character that you don't see that often.
By the way, when you did this monologue I know you said you tweaked it because it's not exactly a monologue, but did you leave out the part where he calls out the three guys in the audience?
No, I kept that in.
So you were like, I forget their names, but
you know, do you want me to just do it?
not really.
I'm sorry. You said yes?
No, I did not. No.
I thought you said yes.
No.
Hold on. I'm getting some interference. It sounds like you said you want me to keep doing this. So let me.
No, but where he goes, fuck you too.
Well, one of my favorite parts is he was like, "This is such a crock of shit."
Yeah. Excuse me? No, I don't think I will.
don't think I will.
Oh man!
You
You know what other scene? Go
I
ahead.
found it. Harry, Jimmy, Trent, wherever you are, fuck you too.
You know what part of that, there's a lot of great parts of that movie. There really are. But another great sequence is actually really at the end when the female professor comes running out to him at the end before they leave. And that whole interaction between him and her, I find to be really, really intriguing. You know,
It is really interesting because she has gotten a resurgence of a career. She's more famous now as an older woman than she was as a actress in the
Which
80s
happens.
and 90s.
Yeah.
She is prominently known in the American Horror Story shows.
Okay.
And now more than ever, her name is Frances Conroy. She played the Joker's mom in Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Which, by the way, is coming to HBO like next week.
Oh, so is that when you're going to finally not watch it?
Yeah, exactly. Actually,
Yeah,
a friend of the show, if you will, guy named Greg that I've become close with on one of the podcast things I'm on Discord, actually gave me access to his movie database. And so he's got a lot of movies in there I have not seen yet. Joker's in there, and I'm...
Is Dog Day in there?
It is not. I looked.
Fuck!
Yeah. But I did watch very quickly. I watched Rush with Chris Hemsworth.
And so you got Thor and
Zemo.
Zemo, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the actor's name, so I apologize to him. But
Daniel Brühl.
But it was actually really good. I enjoyed that. And then I actually saw Bad Boys 3, which actually it's not terrible. The second one's still the best, and it's still better than the first one, in my opinion. But
that should be on the fucking tagline. It's not terrible.
Bad
Boys 3. It's not terrible.
Terrible. Getting back to this though, but even like just the whole sequence with Manny as the driver, I was always a fan of that. Like, it's just a good movie. I mean, Send a Woman. I sometimes feel like it's underrated. Am I incorrect in that?
No, because it's not, I've heard both sides say it's underrated and then it's overrated. I think it's overrated in the sense that it is Pacino's only Oscar win, so it's always referenced and always talked about.
Sure.
I would also say it's underrated for the exact same reason. Because it is his only win.
Right. But here's the other thing I would say about it. Forgetting the Pacino part of it, obviously, him being the star, you can't ignore him. But my point is that, like, that sequence that we keep referencing with him and the principal or the dean is very, very similar to the scene you also reference in Few Good Men. Like, it's that level of, you know, like, if they're doing a montage of, like, great cinematic scene, that should be a part of it. You know what I mean? Every time, you know, as much as you can't handle the truth, you know,
it's definitely one of the best courtroom scenes for sure.
For not being a courtroom.
Right.
Because he even say, if you remember, at one point he even says, "What is this, a courtroom?" And he goes, "Well, as close as we can get to it," you know. Mm-hmm. So,
I love how he calls them minnows.
Oh yeah. So here, the only complaint I have with the movie, or the only one that jumps right to the front of my head anyway, is after Charlie's exonerated, like after the disciplinary committee excuses him from all of it, just like he never had nothing to do with it. The crowd goes fucking apeshit. And there are kids that act like they've known him his entire life, just like freaking out. That are clearly years younger than him and have probably never said 2 words to him before that.
So you have a problem with sort of them being fake?
Yeah, it felt. I know what they were going for a feel when they shot that, and they got it. But
they were going for triumphant when it didn't seem natural.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of what it was. Yeah.
If I can argue, I would say that there are those assholes that are like Philip Seymour Hoffman's character and Tripp and all those rich douchebags. I would also argue that there is some that have to pay their way and some who have to work their way to be in that school. That probably can look around and see that this is some injustice bullshit.
No, but there's one
scared
kid
to say anything.
There's this one kid who's clearly at best a freshman in this school, because if I'm right, it's only a high school, so it's just 4 years.
Sure,
he's at best a freshman.
Okay,
and they whether they did it on purpose or not, they zoomed in on this kid, and he's acting like he's Charlie's best friend. So it may be a case of like overacting by an extra. But it just didn't.
You know what it is they're just all happy to be there in the presence of Pacino.
Well, sure. I mean, come on.
Look, even if you are like on the I'm a rich douchebag kind of side, the speech Pacino gives is so riveting. You're like, I'm a liberal, motherfuckers! Like,
right? Yeah.
You could just be sucked into that bullshit.
I really loved, I'll tell you right now. So the first time I saw Son of a Woman, I had no idea who Pacino was. Like that, the name, again, it goes back to what I was saying to you earlier. Like, I just didn't know actors. Like, I recognized faces, but, like, I didn't know, you know.
Right.
And I've seen other people play blind characters, and he's probably the most convincing, or maybe the second most convincing blind character that I've ever seen.
Number 1 is Charlie Cox's Daredevil.
No, actually, he doesn't. No, even he's not all that convincing to me. More so is Nicholas Turturro in Sneakers, or no? Is it no? Maybe I made it the wrong actor. Hold on, it's not Nicholas Turturro. He looks. The guy I'm thinking of looks like John Turturro, but he's not John Turturro.
And it's not John Leguizamo.
No.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm getting his name for you right now. 1 second, because I know exactly how to find him. David Strathairn? I don't know how to say this last name.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. The guy from... I know who you're talking about. He's from Goodbye and Good Night and Good Luck.
Oh, I don't know. But...
I know who you're talking about.
This guy's a bit of a character actor again. You would have seen him in stuff. I guarantee it.
I've seen him in... he was really good in Dolores Claiborne.
Sure.
Okay.
The only other thing I can, off the top of my head, tell you... Oh, he's in the Bourne movies. He's in the Bourne Ultimatum, the third one.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the main bad guy working at the CIA, Noah Vosen. He's also... I remember him right off the top of my head from A League of Their Own. He's the guy that runs the league.
Yeah, that's true.
Not Frank Marshall's character, but the guy right below him, like in the hierarchy, if you will. But that guy... Why did I bring him up? I brought him... Oh, because he plays a blind guy in Sneakers.
Right.
And he does a really good job there, too, of that portrayal. So...
Mm-hmm. Cinema Woman is a great goddamn movie. I mean, it is just... I mean, you see why he won his Oscar.
Yeah.
You also kind of like, this is kind of the gimme Oscar. This is kind of like, we owe you one.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's, up to that point with all the other roles he'd been in to not get them, so, I mean, according to Wiki, he's been nominated a ton. 9 Oscar nominations, and he's only won the one.
Will you do an acting thing with me?
Do I have to?
You don't have to. You can say no. But then it'll be on the recording that you turned down.
I might be okay with that.
Okay.
No. Real
because
quick,
the next movie I want to talk... Well,
before you get into his movies, though, do you want to know what movies he was nominated for at the Academy only? Do you want to know those or no?
Sure.
Okay. So, in The Godfather, believe it or not, it's supporting actor. In the original Godfather, the first one.
Yeah. And Brando won for Best Actor. Which he turned down.
And then in Serpico, Godfather 2, Dog Day, and Justice for All,
yeah,
he's Best Actor.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they wanted to give him the Oscar way back when. And
then going back to Supporting Actor for Dick Tracy and Glengarry Glen Ross. Yeah, he's not super prominent in Glengarry. Ironically, what I don't think I realized was that he was nominated that same year for Scent of a Woman. So in 93, he was nominated for Supporting and Best Actor. 93 was a good year for him. Yeah. Obviously, he won for Scent of a Woman. Here's an interesting thing, though, and I don't think I knew this until I pulled this list up. He then again was not nominated until this year for The Irishman. Yeah. So you're talking... a good chunk of time with no nominations. 27 years. 27 years, yeah. Yeah. So, Jesus, just almost 30 years without a nomination. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean he did shit work. He just... he didn't do great work. No, but he did. I mean, he did fun work. Because, look, I'm not saying that, Colonel Slade isn't a great character and fun to watch. And I'm sure he's great in Carlita's Way and in Donnie Brasco. But, he should have been nominated for Donnie Brasco, if I'm being honest. Fair enough, and I can't argue that. I would argue he should have been nominated for The Devil's Advocate. He might be one of the best on-screen devils ever. I would say that, but it's not a perfect film, but his performance is true Pacino. So you're looking at what I sent you, and I'm worried about what I'm looking at. So there's a part in Heat, which is the first official pairing of De Niro and Pacino together, because they were both in Godfather 2, but one played the flashback father of the other. Right. And then they were both in Righteous Kill together, and then eventually The Irishman. But Heat was the movie that we saw these two legends that we kind of rivaled against each other in a movie together. And Pacino plays a cop. And De Niro plays a criminal. He plays the bank robber. And they both are aware of each other, and they both have a mutual respect. And I'm only giving you this because I'm pretty positive you've never seen Heat. Nope. You should see Heat. And if you could, I would be very, very appreciative if you would take on the role of Neil, and I'll be Hannah. It's a very short blurb. There's just it's just one little thing where they're in a coffee shop and they're both, and they're just sort of talking and being open about their weird kind of relationship. I'm telling you right now, this is our audience is about to see why I was a narrator on Batman Alone. That's all I'm saying.
Just take your time. You don't have to fucking pull out your De Niro.
I wasn't planning on it. I just hope I don't have to say Wayne Manor.
So you're playing Neil.
Okay.
And I'll play Hannah.
Why are we doing this again? Just
because
so
I want to stretch my Pacino because it's actually just a really good comparison of the two of them. Because it's fucking fun. We're sitting here like a couple of regular fellas. You do what you do. I do what I gotta do. What happens if I'm there and I gotta put you away? I won't like it. But if it's between you and some poor bastard whose wife you're gonna make into a widow, brother, you are going down. Because you don't have to be there. You could have gone and been a mailman.
There's a flip side to that coin. What if you got me boxed in and I got to put you down? Because no matter what, you will not get in my way. But now that we've been face to face, I would not feel good about that. But I won't hesitate. Not for 1 second.
Maybe it'll happen that way. Or who knows?
Maybe we'll never see each other again.
And scene. Thank you. I know you were like, fuck you for making me do this.
Yeah, basically.
You gotta watch that clip, just the two of them. It's pure acting to see, and they like set up like 3 fucking cameras to get everyone's reaction of Pacino and De Niro and in the middle. And it almost is like it's like a boxing match. You just see these two actors just go toe to toe, and neither's losing and neither's winning. It's just equal fucking ground. And you see that mutual respect of each other, of their craft, in the performances.
Well, and I'll tell you something about this movie and Donnie Brasco and, a lot of these other ones that we've talked about that I haven't seen. So my buddy Jim, who I think I've mentioned before, is as much of a cinemaphile as you are, if not slightly more. And that's not a shot at you, buddy. He just knows a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? Like, and he knows some obscure shit. Like, he knows like the key grip from the Best Picture from 1963. Like, he knows that kind of weird shit. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So, and he and I and another one of his friends used to get together every Thursday and hang out. And we'd usually end up sitting around just bullshit. Basically, it was a podcast without the recording because we'd sit around and talk shit. But we'd usually have a movie on in the background. And then one time, his other friend is almost 100% Italian. I think he's like 95% Italian. And then Jim is just a big movie fan. So when they found out at that point in my life, I had never seen any of the Godfathers. They were like, what the serious fuck, and they put it on, and then I came back and I loved it. I enjoyed it immensely from the first time I saw it. It wasn't like, oh my god, I gotta watch it. No, I put it on, I watched it, I loved it. The next week we watched the second one, and then the week after that I came in and I forget, buddy, and I'm not saying this in a shit way, but did you ever go to college? I know you did. You ever go? Okay. But in college, they'll give you a syllabus, right? They kind of lays out what they're doing for the year and all that kind of stuff. So they gave me like a gangster movie syllabus of movies that we were going to watch, and then life happened and we had to stop doing the get-togethers on Thursdays. And it just, like I said, life. But so I don't have it anymore, and I wish I did because I would show it to you and I'd also read it. But I know for a fact that some of these movies that we're talking about that I haven't seen were in the latter part of my syllabus.
Sure.
So, we got through part of it because I saw The Godfathers, all 3, and I saw, that's where I saw Goodfellas the first time, and Casino, stuff like that, so.
Heat would qualify, even though it's not a mob movie. It's
no,
still
I think they had like a, I forget what they called it because they had a better name for it, but it was like an honorable mentions section, but it wasn't honorable mentions. Like it had a better a better name for. Because, dude, when I tell you they put a syllabus together, like they literally sat down and like wrote out a thing with like categories and shit. But
you should reach out to that guy.
I don't think I talk to him all the time, but I don't think he's got it. I can ask him, but
ask him to do another one.
I can do that. I'm trying to get him to come on the show because I honestly want to watch you two face down because that would just be fun for me.
He would do the De Niro Heat thing with me.
Oh, no, he's not much of an actor, so I don't know.
Fair enough. He would just know the dialogue.
I think he would know the scene. I don't know if he would know the dialogue word for word. Like I think he would need what you could you have recited that without the script you sent me?
Most of it.
Okay, well, see, I don't think he could do that. See, That's where you guys are different. I don't mean that in a bad way. Like you're more focusing on the acting, and he's more about the whole process. So like the acting is just a piece of the puzzle for him.
Sure.
Sure.
So. What's after Heat in terms of going back up? So we did talk.
Yeah, I was going to say Devil's Advocate a little more. I feel like that deserves some love.
I'd love to talk about Devil's Advocate, man. That's
before we deep dive into that specifically, if you look over the next, I want to say 10 years of his career, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's several examples, and not all of them, but there's several examples of him trying to, I feel like, help newer actors get their star by being with Pacino in a film.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because you got Keanu in 97. Like, he wasn't nobody, but he wasn't Keanu. Does that make sense?
He wasn't John Wick. He wasn't even Matrix.
He wasn't Neo. He wasn't, and I think this role with, in Devil's Advocate as the foil or the counterpart to Pacino really is kind of what raised him up to that next level,
I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right, because you see that with Donnie Brasco. You see that with the Recruit with Colin Farrell.
I think you could see it with Any Given Sunday with Jamie Foxx. I think that's fair.
You even see that with Two for the Money with Matthew McConaughey.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
With which Ralph Garman is in Two for the Money.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. I watched it. I watched it because Pacino and all that shit, but I'm like, where's Ralph? And you very clearly see Ralph.
Is he like a prominent role? Is it a one? Is it like, yeah. All right.
He's a prominent supporting role where he's like a supporting character who gets like 3 or 4 lines of dialogue, but every time he comes up, you're like, holy fuck, it's Ralph. And apparently they got, he and Pacino got along really well. You know what's really fucked is that we know a guy who was Pacino's fucking,
I was just about to bring that up. Yeah. He's told us that he can't tell us much about it, though, if you recall, which we respect.
Yeah. Which we respect. I mean, we're talking about you, fucking Maddie. We're talking about you. Again, as always, we're always fucking bringing you up, dude.
Yeah. Maddie fucking Granger.
Maddie fucking Granger hung out with Al fucking Pacino.
Do we know what Pacino, do you remember what movie, though?
88 minutes.
It was 88 minutes? Okay.
I think he lasted more than 88 minutes with Pacino.
Yeah.
Although, maybe not. Maybe it was only in small doses. It totaled up to 88 minutes.
I was talking to somebody who tongue-in-cheek was saying that we don't talk about women enough on this show. And we have made efforts to be better at that. We're not always great at it.
I will say right now, our next deep dive in actor will be a woman.
No, I agree. I agree. And they did ask why we were doing Pacino over a woman, and I said honestly because the episode that came out today is our Mother's Day special, which was nothing but female actors, pretty much.
Yeah. Unless you count Bob Saget.
Right, unless you count Bob Saget. But, I will take a moment. We were talking about how he spent some time, meaning Pacino, helping other actors get their star in this time window. And we mentioned Keanu for Devil's Advocate. But to a lesser degree, Charlize Theron, because do I have my people wrong? Let me pull. I should have pulled up the script.
She's in Devil's Advocate, but I don't think that was anything to do with Pacino. I think Pacino approved of Keanu, but Charlize I think Charlize got that just based on a really good audition.
Okay.
But because she and Pacino interact for sure.
Yeah.
But she was just a model at that time. And because Devil's Advocate's really early in her career.
Oh yeah, very early on. I knew that.
She basically played the same fucking role in The Astronaut's Wife. Did you ever see that fucking movie?
No.
So imagine the same fucking role that she has, where she kind of goes crazy and thinks something's not right, and it's kind of making her kind of schizophrenic.
Right.
And then imagine Johnny Depp is her husband, and he's an astronaut, and he goes out into space and gets like attacked by an alien, and then it's not really a big. You kind of see it coming a fucking mile away. The alien kind of possessed him, or took over his body or some shit, and then impregnates her.
It's only her fourth movie, and fifth if you include the one she's not credited in, because she's in Children of the Corn 3 apparently, but she's not credited in that.
I'm sure she asked for that.
The biggest thing
I've
I knew.
seen Children of the Corn 3.
But she was in 2 Days in the Valley, That Thing You Do, and Trial and Error before she was in Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, I mean, Devil's Advocate has a great plethora of actors, and because you got Jeffrey Jones, who kind of an awful human being, but kind of a great shitty character actor.
Okay.
Because he's always kind of playing a blowhard, with the exception of his role in Amadeus. Jeffrey Jones is usually kind of he's the fucking principal of Ferris Bueller. He's that guy.
Oh yeah, and he did turn out to be kind of a piece of shit. If I recall.
You also got Craig T. Nelson.
Yeah.
Did you know? You want some trivia? Did you know that the apartment in Devil's Advocate, where Craig T. Nelson does that whole scene where he pulls the gun out of his pocket and throws it on the ground, and then shows how he picks up the gun with his handprint, the bloody handprint on the floor?
You know what? It's been so long since I've seen it, I don't remember that part. But
so that's the part where Keanu is representing him for the murder of his wife. No, and I came home, and I'm just telling you and the audience, the apartment is Donald Trump's penthouse apartment in Trump Tower.
Of course it is.
Yeah, and you could tell because there's fucking gaudy gold everywhere.
Well, it's, in that same regard, I fell asleep on the couch the other night and with the TV on, and I woke up at 3 a.m. to Home Alone 2, right at the part where he asked Trump for directions.
Down the hall to the left.
Yeah. So, anyway, but yeah, I feel like you to the point we were both making, so Derry's trying to help, Keanu, and maybe to a lesser degree Charlize, but Keanu. Any given Sundays, I feel like it's an underrated movie. I really do.
It's definitely. I mean, we talked about it, and I remember I've seen it, but it's been a very long time since I've seen it. I've only saw it just the one time. But obviously, I've seen the rousing speech multiple times on YouTube. It's always one of the best Pacino speeches.
Well, and that's the thing that Pacino is great for doing in a lot of these movies, are these monologues, these rousing speech monologues,
And I still think his best speech is in The Devil's Advocate.
Oh, I agree. Oh, no question. This is great. The one as Coach D'Amato is great, but you're right. It doesn't beat The Devil's Advocate.
The fucking whole thing of him, God, worship that? Never. As an atheist growing up, I mean, I have definitely toned down my atheism. I'm still very much an atheist, but you
don't beat people over the head with it anymore. Is that?
No. Yeah, I sort of got off on, I was sort of that religious, fundamentalist without being religious.
Yeah.
It was kind of really fucking, I don't know. I got off kind of by Pacino validating that if there is a God, he's a complete fucking prick, and it's the devil saying it. And you're like, I see his fucking point. I get it. You almost kind of feel sorry for him. You're like, like he gives this, and I'm not going to do the Pacino too much, but I love this little, because if it's Pacino, who has been known to occasionally improvise certain shit, or if it's the word on the page from the screenwriter, let me give you a little inside information about God. God likes to watch. He's a prankster. Think about it. He gives man instincts. He gives you this extraordinary gift, and then what does he do? I swear, for his own amusement, his own private cosmic gag reel, he sets the rules in opposition. It's the goof of all time. Look, but don't touch. Touch, but don't taste. Taste, but don't swallow. And while you're jumping from one foot to the next, what is he doing? He's laughing his sick fucking ass off. He's a tight ass. He's a sadist. He's an absentee landlord. Worship that. Never. That is, for me, one of the greatest Pacino losing it, still being funny, still being intense, still being scary. And you like, I get it. I get his fucking point.
And the crazy part is, I bet you could drop that entire dialogue as written into the middle of Dogma and it would fit.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
And I would gotta say, whoever wrote that was a Catholic. Whoever wrote that monologue was like, I get it. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Nothing for me chews the scenery more brilliantly than Pacino, where he's in the church and he's about to dip his finger in the holy water and he's looking up at God and he's got this big fucking sly grin, and then he just dips his finger in the holy water and it boils.
Yep.
Like, there is some major faults of Devil's Advocate. Never when Pacino's on screen.
I think I need to watch it again.
Even him lip syncing to Sinatra, for me, I mean, obviously I'm biased, but like, it comes out of fucking nowhere, and there's no stereo. He just wills Sinatra's music to be playing in the air, and he's lip syncing. He's like, it happened in Monterey. I'm like, of course the Devil's got good fucking music. We're all thinking he loves metal. Nope, Frank.
Well, that's like that scene in Little Nicky where they say if you play, the guys ask if you play Ozzy backwards, you hear like devil messages. No, but if you play Chicago backwards,
I'm the son of Satan lively.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, I need to watch that movie again. It's been a long time since
Devil's
I've seen
Advocate.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
And even Keanu's really trying. He's really, really trying.
It's hard to hold a candle to Pacino.
It's believable that he could be the offspring of Pacino.
Yeah.
Because they look just enough alike, but like, you look at Keanu like, where's the Asian? Where's the part Asian?
Would you have Keanu play Pacino in a biopic?
Fuck no.
No
way. No way.
Okay.
Pacino is the only person I think who could, and even then he's kind of too old, would be Adrian Brody.
Yeah, I could see that.
He looks enough like Pacino. He was called the next Pacino when he was starting to get his career, and he's got the chops for it. No, I don't. They'd have to get an unknown. Oh, they'd have to get a really unknown talent. You could not get a big star to play Al Pacino, because it would just take you out of like, why the fuck am I watching Leo DiCaprio play Al Pacino? He's like a foot taller than him. What the fuck is this?
Right. I'm looking at the rest of this, and there's a really big gaping name staring at me in his filmography, in Pacino's filmography.
What's that?
I don't think I realized he was in it, and it was such a piece of shit flick, or at least it took so much shit. Gigli.
Yeah, he's in Gigli. He plays Ben Affleck's mob boss, because Gigli is like an Italian American low rent gangster.
Right.
And then he's like, I mean, I only saw the movie one time. I gotta say, Pacino's fine in it. And that movie gets far more hate than it really kind of richly deserves. I've seen worse movies than Gigli. Like, I definitely have.
Can I tell you a funny... I gotta confirm my years here, but bear with me just 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking this up to make sure I got my info right first. Yeah, they're close enough to this Fritz. Okay. So, you, as people know, we're big Kevin Smith fans.
No.
Yeah, right? And so, Kevin kept talking about this movie that he made with Ben and Jennifer during the benefit. Right, Jersey Girl. But Geely came out basically at the same time. It's like a year apart. So I, for a long time, thought Geely was the Kevin Smith movie.
I think Kevin Smith would jizz his fucking brains out if he got to direct Pacino, even if it was Geely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty... I mean, but you are correct in the sense that that's really kind of why Jersey Girl kind of failed, is because they thought this was Geely too.
Basically. Which it isn't, because Jen's in the movie for all of what, like 10 minutes, maybe?
Yeah, but here's the other thing, is that Geely was also Ben Affleck doing the chasing Amy thing again, the whole lesbian straight thing.
Yeah, I've seen Geely, I have, but I don't remember a lot of the...
It's not a bad movie. It's just not a good movie, or even it's not. I'll never call it a great movie. It's not even a good movie, but it's not the worst movie I've ever seen. Like it's like The Room. Like you can't say, "Oh, Geely's one of the worst movies ever made." When you're like, have you seen like Jaws: The Revenge, or like have you seen Leprechaun fucking 4? It's always the fourth one. But I mean, Max Payne with Mocky fucking Mock, to me, is a way worse fucking movie than Geely. And I'm not trying to defend Geely. I'm just trying to say, like...
Right.
It doesn't... I mean, Pacino, like we say, is particular to a certain degree of the movies. Like, later Pacino, he just stopped giving a fuck. And then he kind of is like, all right, I'm going to go back to it. Like, you want to get back... You want to be more artsy.
Well, and, to that point, like, he plays a character... I love Two for the Money. I thought that was great. I like that movie a lot.
With McConaughey?
Yeah.
But you didn't recognize Ralph Garman?
Well, I didn't know who Ralph Garman was. I saw it like the year that it came out. I had no idea who Ralph Garman was when I saw that movie.
Did you see The Recruit with Colin Farrell?
No.
That's good. Predictable. You see where it's going, but you're still entertained as fuck. And
That's
Pacino kind of...
I'm not seeing that on his IMDb.
It's there. It's 2003.
Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Like, it's him doing the same thing. He's being a mentor to the new young star, which he does very well.
Well, see, what I think makes me, and I like, you said it's Colin Farrell in The Recruit. Mm-hmm. I like Colin Farrell, so I probably would like it, but I, more than most people, really like McConaughey. I
like McConaughey now. McConaughey's earned my respect as an actor. Didn't particularly like him because I kind of viewed him as just a pretty boy Texan, kind of like, but...
all right.
Yeah, I never got sucked into that, all right, like that West Texas fucking, lisp thing. That I was just never a McConaughey fan until, honestly, it was the movie Mud. That really, like, I was like, This motherfucker. Mud, he was great in, and because he had a very good couple years, Dallas Buyers Club. Dallas Buyers Club, he's great in, but Mud, Steph's giving
Lincoln
me a
Lawyer.
fucking look.
Was he in Lincoln Lawyer?
Who? Was he in what? CJ?
Lincoln Lawyer. Wasn't he in that too?
I never saw Lincoln Lawyer. I've heard it was fucking awful though.
I liked it.
Okay.
No, I get it. I don't know. First time I saw Matthew McConaughey was in Ed TV. So to give you an idea of how long ago that was, that was the first time I saw him. So
that's 94, if I remember.
I think so. Yeah, I don't have his thing up in front of me, but yeah. So I saw him in that before I ever saw Dazed and Confused. Which, So anyway, but I like Two for the Money, and I liked Pacino in it. Honestly,
I got another. It is not a critically lauded fucking film of his.
Sure.
But it's kind of like one of those kitschy movies. You're like, holy shit. Like, I think I like this more than I should have. It's a movie he did where it's phonetically spelled out like S1M0NE. But it's really Simone.
Yeah, I see that here. Yeah.
Okay, so he plays a filmmaker. He plays a director, and he's getting sick and tired of all the real actresses not taking this direction and being fucking prima donnas. He somehow, I don't remember the context of it, he meets somebody who basically created an artificial intelligence through like a projector, and he is able to put her in his movie, and he just sort of makes her up, and he calls her Simone as in Simulation 1 is really what it is.
Sure.
And he's able to like write her dialogue, and the AI is able to speak what he writes, and he can, with a microphone, speak as her. The audience and the world goes fucking nuts, and he can't acknowledge that she's a fake fucking person. So he has to go with this lie of like, you know, making her up and like having her, like she wants to be a singer. So you gotta like put like projectors on a stage audience. Like remember when they did that with fucking Tupac? When they brought Tupac back?
Yeah, I think, I forget if someone's going on tour. Whitney Houston's was supposed to go on tour this year.
So same thing.
Yeah.
And it's not like, it is definitely not his best movie, but it's like one of those ones where if Pacino ever did like a kind of kooky romantic comedy type of, like a very lighthearted film, it would be Simone. It's pretty entertaining.
I'm noticing here that he has this thing for playing real people in TV movies.
Recently. I think he signed up with HBO, and they're just making him crunch out all these fucking, like, weird biopics, like Phil Spector and shit like that.
He's done 3 that I've seen. He did Jack Kevorkian in a movie called You Don't Know Jack. That was in 10. In 13, he did Phil Spector.
Right.
And in 18, he did Joe Paterno.
Yeah, which I have yet to see any of those movies. I didn't see any of the 3 that you just mentioned.
The only one that sounds interesting to me, honestly, is Spector. Because the music thing, you know.
I don't know. I mean, I still worship Pacino as an actor, but I have a hard time thinking he gives a fuck anymore. And watching him in The Irishman kind of proved that for me. Because at very little points did I see him act. It was just Pacino yelling.
I didn't mind him in
there
that,
is
though.
Pacino yelling and acting. Like, you know, we sucked the dick off of Scent of a Woman.
Right.
Which is a sentence that I didn't think would actually go well together, but it did. But he's yelling but he's still acting. He's not Pacino. And even in Devil's Advocate or Any Given Sunday or whatever, there's Pacino acting and there's Pacino yelling. And I gotta say, Pacino fucking yelling in The Irishman was just, I'm not blaming his age. I'm not saying like, oh, he's just too old. He just doesn't, you know, he just doesn't have it anymore. Because like Nicholson can still fucking like wow me. Like Nicholson's performance in The Departed is still insane to watch. And he was, 70 years old at that point. And then same with De Niro. De Niro is still consistently, some movies he's a caricature of himself. Some movies he's back to De Niro. He's acting legend Robert De Niro. Like in The Joker, he's not great when he tries to do comedy.
Right.
Which is ironic because he's really fucking funny in like Meet the Parents or I Analyze This.
You guys have Amazon Prime, right? Steph does, doesn't she?
Steph, I think, did. We have Hulu and HBO and Netflix and Disney Plus. Thanks to you.
All right, maybe I can find a way to. Because here's the thing. There's a show on Amazon Prime, and I've seen it. This came up, and I figured you'd watch it. It's not. It doesn't. It partially appeals to me, and then at other times it doesn't. It's a movie. It's a show called Hunters. It's a 10-episode show, 1 hour each. No, it's brand new. It's new to 2020. It came out this year.
Mm-hmm.
But Pacino stars in it.
Oh, I did see like a promo for that.
Yeah, and it's 1977 New York City. A troubled young Jewish man bent on revenge is taken in by a secret group of Nazi hunters fighting a clandestine war against the the cabal of a high-ranking Nazi officials in hiding who are working to create the Fourth Reich.
That sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, and it's on Prime, so
I'd watch it. I'm not going to sign up for Prime, but if we have it, then I'll give it a shot. I'm going through fucking so many different shows right now. It's hard to keep track of like who the fuck is what and what.
Yeah,
and what.
Well, I've been watching a lot of one show, getting ready for a future episode because Christ, there's a lot of show to watch. So
he never voiced a character, did he? He was never on the show.
No, I was looking at that. He is not actually, from what if I'm seeing this right, I don't think he's ever done voice work. Yeah.
I still think he should be in a Pixar film as an owl.
Can I, really quick, just because I think you'll find this fucking funny. So, you know how on IMDb, if there's a show, it'll tell you the titles of the episodes?
Yeah.
Like, it'll say the show, and then underneath, and like it'll list off the different episodes they're in or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's one episode titled Shalom Motherfucker.
For what?
That Hunter show, the one I was just telling you about.
Shalom Motherfucker.
So, I thought you'd find that funny.
Did you see 88 Minutes, the one Maddie worked on?
No. And I used to get that confused, and please bear with me, because of the concepts, and if I have to explain further why, I used to get that and Insomnia confused.
Oh shit, Insomnia. I completely forgot about that one.
And which is ironic considering how many times you mentioned Robin.
Yeah. Well, I referenced it today.
Right.
Like earlier before we were recording, when Steph woke me up, like I started like growling like Pacino, and she's like, "Don't do it! Don't fuck up your voice. You got to get ready. Like don't fuck up your voice before you start talking about Pacino." And I'm like, I'm channeling his role in Insomnia because I was half asleep.
Right.
That's a fucking great movie for a multitude of reasons.
It's a weird fucking movie too, though.
It's weird as fuck because it's Robin Williams as the bad guy.
And Pacino is the good guy. Like, you don't see that often either.
Pacino plays a good guy frequently.
I always find him to be like, what's that word I'm thinking? Not the antagonist, but he's like the anti-hero a lot, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like, he's not always the antagonist, but he's not always the good guy either. Sure.
I mean, when quote unquote it's revealed that he was the bad guy all along, like, you know, when he's like a mentor and then it's like, oh my god, dun, 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 he's the bad guy, you're not surprised because Pacino's got a lot of darkness, you know.
What, for Insomnia?
In anything. You know, he plays good and bad and ugly very well.
Sometimes simultaneously.
Yes. I mean, Bad Boy Caprice is a clear fucking example. He's good at being bad and fucking ugly. He's fugly as fuck in that movie. But even like to not, I'm purposely going to avoid talking about The Godfather because that would be a clear example. Like Dog Day. You haven't seen Dog Day, but like when you break it down, he is a bank robber. He's unsuccessfully trying to rob a bank.
Right.
Which is a crime. He is a criminal, or at least he's aspiring to be a criminal. Those are, I mean, you can sympathize with the character, but there's a lot of darkness in that aspect. Like, why couldn't he just gotten a better job?
Right. Right.
And it's not, and there's a nobility to it because he's not doing it to get rich. It's not even really about him. It's a weird thing, and I don't want to ruin it for you.
No, I get it.
As the imply on the description, it's about him paying for an operation for his wife.
Well, I mean, the same thing applies to like Any Given Sunday. He's not a bad guy. He's not the bad guy, but he's certainly not somebody you find yourself rooting for either. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but like I said, where he's the devil, you sympathize.
Right.
He's the fucking devil, and you're like, I see his point. I feel bad for the devil. Like, God really did a number on him.
You know,
damn you, God! Damn you, straight to hell for treating the devil this way.
I feel like we glossed over something, and when I say gloss, we didn't even mention it. But I think you and I view this movie very differently, and that's probably why. And that's Ocean's 13 when he's Willie Bank. Like,
Well, I was getting that because we hadn't fucking gotten. I was looking at his filmography, so I was working my way up.
We jumped ahead of it.
We jumped ahead of it because we're talking about like later Pacino as compared to younger Pacino. But I mean, we're both in agreement that Pacino in the Ocean's 13 one feels right.
Oh,
it feels obvious that if you're gonna have a villain who makes Andy Garcia look like a fucking weakling, it's gotta be Pacino.
There were 3 people that could have done it. And I think you can name all 3 if you really think about it.
Including Pacino?
Including Pacino.
Pacino, De Niro.
The third one might be a little less obvious, but I think you can get it.
There's 3 others that I could pick.
All right, well, give them to me, and I'll let you know if that's one of the 3 I was thinking of.
Walken?
No, I don't think I agree, but anyway.
Harvey Keitel?
Okay, that's not the one I was thinking, but that's not a bad call. Okay.
Nicholson?
No.
Okay. Who's the third one?
Pesci could have done it.
I thought of Pesci, but I thought it was... for starters, Willie Bank is not exclusively Italian.
No, it's not about the Italian. It's about their on-screen presence, and I feel like I think if I was ranking them out, it would have been in the order we said them: Pacino, De Niro, Pesci. Like it would have been that order. You know,
nothing against Pesci. I think Pesci would have played it more comical than how he does in like Casino, which even now is kind of comical.
Right. I hear you. Okay.
Pesci was my favorite part of The Irishman because he had that intensity, but I think someone like Nicholson could pull out that. Nicholson would have done the, screw Sinatra. Like, screw Sinatra.
True. He would have played it. All right, let me ask you this, and I'm going to try to make a comparison here. He would have played it like Jack Napier before getting dropped in the vat of acid.
Yeah.
Is
nice outfit. It's so funny. I did my Nicholson Joker just when I was playing. I think I was playing a video game. I was playing The Force Unleashed, and I fucking put on a new costume for my character, and without even realizing, I said, "Nice outfit," like Nicholson. And Steph's like, "What the fuck? Where did that? Why are you pulling out your fucking Nicholson?" I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even realize I did that." Like, there's got to be a form of like a schizophrenia for impressionists that I have. Like, You're just like, I'm just talking like Jack all day long.
One of the things that just to me shows Pacino's range in the Ocean movies specifically is right towards the end, right? And it's after everyone's left the casino, and it's just him and Danny Clooney standing there talking, and he's like, "You think you hit me hard? You haven't even hit my soft spots." And he starts listing off the soft spots. Like I'm still a three handicap on the golf course. I've got the best casino on the strip, and I'm a shoo-in for the 5 Diamond Award, right? And then Carl Reiner comes around the back and kind of, lets him realize, no, he's not. But the best part is right after that, you see the helicopter flying away with the diamonds. And he just looks up and he's like, he looks like a little kid, like a little kid. And he's like, my diamonds.
My diamonds. They stole my diamonds.
It's not even that. It's just very laid back, simple. My diamonds.
You're right.
It's definitely really an interesting conveyance right from the beginning of that to the end of that.
You're absolutely right. It is the simplest. If we could ever see what Al Pacino would be as a kid,
right?
Like my diamonds.
And
Nicholson would have done the joke with he's like, he stole my balloons.
Right. That's he just. I think Pacino was perfect for that role. I don't think you could have done better. Maybe Keitel. I honestly, I would take Keitel over Nicholson.
Or De Niro.
I think I would take Keitel over De Niro in that role. That role specifically. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What I love is that it's almost like Andy Garcia's getting his revenge for being in Godfather 3. You know what I mean? Like, because he plays fucking Vincent Corleone.
Yeah.
He
Well,
plays
we
Vincent
didn't
Mancini.
we didn't deep dive the Ocean's movie, did we? I don't think we've ever done that. I think we've talked about them. And I'm not saying we need to do that tonight by any means, but I will honestly tell you I didn't like what they did with the character that he plays over those 3 movies.
You mean Benedict?
Yeah, I didn't like what they did with Benedict from Ocean's 11 to Ocean's 13. Like, I just didn't like it.
I like what they did to him in the second one, where he was like in on the thing, but he was still like, if you don't do this, I'm going to have you guys killed.
He did it in the second one. He did it in the third one.
Second one, he blackmails them into stealing the egg.
But he wasn't in on it. Like, he's more in on... If you want to say he's in on it, he's more...
financing it.
No. No. He said that he'll forgive them the money they owe him if they get the egg.
But he says, if you guys don't by a certain amount of time, then I'm going to have you guys killed.
Right, but he's not financing it. In the third one, he finances the drill.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a personal... As I'm saying, as a personal revenge, because he was put in Godfather 3.
Yes and no. If you remember, he says they have to double his investment, too. So, I mean, there's a lot to get into that. But the point is that, like, and we'll do this deeper later, but, like, in Ocean's 11, he was a very ruthless killer type, almost mob boss-like character. Yeah. And he's much more almost a comedic foil by the third one. Yeah, and I didn't like that. I liked him better in 11 and 13. But anyway, that's another discussion for another day. But
I liked him in the most in Ocean's 11. I mean, you're right.
I'm with you. I agree. I liked him the best in 11. Yeah. What else do you want to talk about with Pacino's thing? Because I'm looking here. I mean, I know you didn't like his role in Once Upon a Time.
I just thought it was wasted. Personally.
Right. Well, that's what I mean.
Wasted fucking role.
We've talked about The Irishman pretty in depth already, and you kind of mentioned it again tonight. So
yeah, I mean, I tried.
I liked it more than you did, but I liked it more than you did in terms of him specifically. But
yeah, at no point did I fucking see. Are we talking about Irishman?
Yeah.
At no point did I really ever see Jimmy Hoffa. I only saw Pacino. It was just really weird and not inspiring casting. It was, let's just get De Niro and Pacino, directed by Scorsese, together. It was not, if anything, I think we could have found Pacino in a better role in that movie. Even if it was a smaller role, I think you could have flipped it. You could have had De Niro play Hoffa. I think there could have been, at the very least, I just would have liked to have seen that version of De Niro as Jimmy Hoffa and Pacino as the fucking Irishman. He made like some movies that in 2014 that I really tried to. I couldn't get through them. They were just not great. Like,
I've never heard of any of them, honestly.
The Humbling, Manglehorn, and Danny Collins. The only one that I actually kind of got through was Danny Collins, and it's because he plays like an old, like he was a singer-songwriter way back and he had a big career, and he wants to branch out and try new material, but like everyone just wants him to do his one-hit wonders, and that's an interesting one. But
I gotta be honest with you, if you take out the TV movies that we referenced already, from the time he was in Jack and Jill, which I've never seen, but I'm using it as a specific point of reference, right? Up until he's in Paterno, or no, I'm sorry, Once Upon a Time. I've never even heard of half these. I haven't heard of any of them.
I don't even know what the fuck Hangman was. What the fuck is this?
No. Hangman, a homicide detective brings his partner out of retirement to help catch a serial killer whose crimes are based on the children's game Hangman.
Fuck off!
Now, the guy, the younger cop is the guy who played Bones in the new Star Trek, like the JJ reboot.
Yeah, Carl Urban.
Thank you. I couldn't remember his name. Yeah. I like him, so I would have maybe liked it for that. But
I mean, I actually kind of want to see it. But clearly it did not do well. If it fucking snuck by and we're like, what the fuck is this fucking movie?
But to your point about Manglehorn, Danny Collins, The Humbling, Salome. Salome, I think I heard of, but that's the only one. You know.
Yeah.
This one looks interesting. The stand-up guys.
Oh, I did see that.
You did see that? It's a pretty good cast, actually.
If I remember correctly, it's very similar to like Going the Distance or whatever, or Going Out in Style. It's old men fucking robbing a bank or some shit. I don't think it was bad. I just think Pacino was on his A game of being a crazy old man in that movie. There's a part where they're at a bar, and he's like, "I need some drugs," and he like grabs like Alan Arkin's fucking medicine. Like he's got a whole pharmacy because he's an old man and he needs like arthritis and thyroid and Viagra and whatever the fuck. And he just starts taking pills and crushing them on the bar counter. And the bartender comes by and says, "What are you doing? You can't be doing drugs." Like on the bar, he's like, "Fuck you, this is for my arthritis." And he just starts snorting lines of these random drugs mixed up together with like a really thin straw from like you would get for a cocktail.
Yeah.
And I'm like, watching, I'm like, buddy, you're not going to get much of that straw, trust me.
Okay, the fact that you know that is disturbing in and of itself. However, it just feels like, this feels like a bank robber's version of Red.
Yeah. It's just, let's see, there are those movies where it's like, let's see this action star a little older kick some ass.
Right.
And you're like, but like,
no.
What? No.
No.
And it really is kind of like it's one thing you're like, we're going to see Rambo at the age of 70 rip someone's throat out. All right, I'm into it. And then we saw, Liam Neeson has a whole fucking career being 65 years old, fucking up dudes.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true. There was like, oh yeah, he was amazing as Oscar Schindler. Okay. I was like, oh yeah, he was Qui-Gon Jinn. Okay. And then he was Ra's al Ghul. Okay. And then it was like, hey, let's give this guy Taken and then like watch Liam Neeson everywhere.
Yeah. Because right after that, he did that Air Marshal movie. I forget what it was called, but he was like the Air Marshal or whatever.
Nonstop.
It's so funny, though. The other day, and we're talking like, when I say the other day, I want to say like 10 days ago or so. We're going to bed, and Deb's like, let's put on a movie. And she's like, how about that Star Wars one with Liam Neeson? So we watched The Phantom Menace.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How was it?
Oh, it's The Phantom Menace. We've talked about it ad nauseum, but it was just funny. I was like, you want that one, the one with the young kid.
We're going way off the rails, but I was playing Forza Unleashed the other night.
Yeah.
And I discovered an Easter egg that I had heard about, but never actually had seen. Okay. Because I think it was only for the Xbox 360 version and not the PS3. You could find Jar Jar Binks frozen in carbonite.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, we can't fucking end it on fucking Jar Jar. We got to end it on Al fucking Pacino. Yeah, I love Pacino, and I miss the the early 2000s Pacino, like Insomnia Pacino, like when he was still fucking doing some acting and not just sound like a fucking laryngitis commercial. You know what I would love?
What's that?
I would love to see Al Pacino play a Bond villain.
Yeah, I guess.
Look, if Walken can fucking do it, then Pacino can fucking do it. Like, and I don't mean like a new, like, Daniel Craig Bond. I mean, Pacino would have worked in a sort of retro 60s kind of Sean Connery Bond. Like, I imagine Bond, like, on the apparatus where he's, like, tied up and the laser is about to like slice his dick off. And Pacino's like, "Oh, Mr. Bond, I got you where I want you. Now I'm going to fuck you up." And he's like, like, do you expect me to talk? No, I expect you to be circumcised, motherfucker. Like, just tongue in cheek, just like chewing the scenery and like, and putting salt and pepper on it at the same fucking time. That's what I really hope, like, it'll never happen, but that was one of my dreams of like, man, there's some great fucking actors that could be a Bond villain. Pacino is definitely at the top of that list. All right, you sons of bitches, I've had enough of this bullshit. I'm 80 years old. I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. Fuck you too.
CJ here with a few thank yous and let you know how you can get in touch with and follow the show and us. Listen to us on the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, or anywhere else you find your podcasts. Please don't forget to rate and comment. PodAskew is a member of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Visit their website, bigheadsmedia.com, and follow them on Twitter at bigheadsmedia. If you want to agree with or yell at us, follow Rico, me, and the show on Twitter. The show is at PodAskew. Rico is at Rants Rico, and I'm at M_Blade. We want to thank logo designer and show friend Mike for his work on our wonderful logo. You can contact him for artwork via email at logomike80@gmail.com. That's logomike80@gmail.com. Thank you to Samuel Lemons for all original music on the show, especially our theme music. You can find Sam on Twitter at Samuel Lemons, all one word, and his music on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/Samuel-Lemons. Finally, our biggest thank you is to you, everyone, for listening. Rico and I really appreciate your time and look forward to bringing you another episode soon.
Sir, you're out of order. Out of order? I show you out of order. You don't know what out of order is, Mr. Trask. I'd show you, but I'm too old. I'm too tired. I'm too fucking blind. If I were the man I was 5 years ago, I'd take a flamethrower to this place. Damn it. PodAskew. 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 PodAskew.